what's going on today, guys? So, Baby Driver, Edgar Wright's newest film, is racing into theaters at the end of this week. I cannot believe we are finally here. I am so pumped for it. And today I'm going to be concluding my mini Edgar Wright series by talking about his third film, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, which came out in the year 2010 and stars Michael Cera and Mary Elizabeth Winstead. And in the movie, Michael Cera plays, well, Michael Cera, playing Scott Pilgrim, a 22-year-old hipster who plays in a very small band. He has a roommate named Wallace Wells, who is played brilliantly by Kieran Culkin, and is currently dating this girl named Knives, played by Ellen Wong. However, Scott immediately falls in love with a woman named Ramona Flowers, played by the one and only Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Hey, who wouldn't, am I right? Fuck yeah.
However, Ramona has a very dark past, and she has 7 evil exes, who are trying to control the future of her love life and are trying to kill Scott as they challenge him to multiple duels, and he has to defeat them in order to keep dating Ramona. Now, I'm aware that Scott Pilgrim is based off of the graphic novel of the same name. Unfortunately, I have not read the graphic novel, despite many people telling me to. That being said, though, Scott Pilgrim is a very original film in its own right. And in a lot of ways, it really is a video game type movie. And if you're thinking about video game movies, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is, without a single shred of doubt, the best video game movie that has ever been made. But something else this movie does is just be as abstract and oddball as possible. This movie is very silly and over the top, and we're going to talk about the things I liked about that and the things I disliked about that, because I do have a few flaws with Scott Pilgrim. I don't think it's a perfect movie. Now, of course, Edgar Wright definitely infuses his own style of filmmaking into this, especially, again, with his scene transitions. I've said it with Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, and I'm going to say it a third time. I love that man's scene transitions. He does it like no one else can. They're all seamless. Something else I really love is the build-up to that first fight, because I think it's actually about 30 minutes into the movie where we get our first actual fight scene. We see Scott reading, or should I say skimming through the email.
This is...
What?
This is boring. Delete.
And I, of course, love all the pedestrian signs with the X's beneath them. It's a really cool Easter egg, and something that I only noticed on repeat viewings. Now, I'm definitely a huge fan of action scenes. You guys know this. I love action movies. I love fight scenes, especially when they're done well. And while the fight scenes in this movie were done very well, you definitely can see Michael Cera's stunt double a lot. Now let's talk about Mary Elizabeth Winstead, and this is going to be my favorite part of this entire review. Because one of the 2 major reasons I wanted to rewatch this movie was because of her. I adore Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She is, without a doubt, my favorite actress working today. I not only think she's the most beautiful actress working today, but I also think that she is the most versatile as well. She has a lot of incredible roles, and she still remains the most underrated person working in the industry. I do think that out of all the roles she's ever played, this is easily her most recognizable one, and it's the one that I think, until I saw 10 Cloverfield Lane, I remembered her as the most. I think her portrayal of Ramona Flowers is, again, excellent. I think Ellen Wong did a really good job as Knives, although I don't really like the way that they took her character, and we're going to talk about that when I address my cons. We definitely get some amazing cameos, which are Ramona's evil exes, basically. My 3 favorites are Lucas Lee, played by Chris Evans, Todd, played by Brandon Routh, and, of course, Gideon, played by Jason Schwartzman. And we're going to talk about Schwartzman in a minute. Chris Evans is having so much fun in this role. You can tell. From the moment he steps out of his trailer, you're like, this guy is owning it.
And...
Action.
The only thing keeping me and her apart are the 2 minutes it's gonna take to kick your ass.
What can I say? I'm nothing without my stunt team.
Now, fun fact, those guys are actually Chris Evans' real stunt team. No joke. But man, Brandon Routh, who played Todd in this movie, was excellent. I know that he had a bad rap with Superman Returns, because he hasn't had any major starring roles after that, but his appearance in this movie is so memorable. I love the fact that he was an idiotic character, especially with his grammar. That just made it hilarious.
We have unfinished business, I and he.
he and me.
Don't you talk to me about grammar.
But easily the best thing about his character is that he's a vegan, and being vegan gives you superpowers. And of course when the vegan police come in.
February 1st, you knowingly ingested gelato.
Gelato isn't vegan.
It's milk and eggs, bitch. On April 4th, 7:30 p.m., you partook a plate of chicken parmesan.
Chicken isn't vegan?
I think Mae Whitman is also really good as Roxy, and I love that fight scene between her and Ramona. For very obvious reasons, it's a fantastic fight. I also need to talk about the music in the movie. The music in this film is phenomenal. And I know a lot of it was pre-recorded, but it's amazing to watch, especially between them and the twins. As we're getting towards the ending of the film, we finally get to meet Gideon Graves, played by Jason Schwartzman. Now, Jason Schwartzman is having the time of his life playing this role. You can tell from the moment that man appears on screen, he is just loving it.
Good news is that I'm officially loving the sex bombs.
Pop bomb.
Three-piece rock outfit with a smoking hot redhead on drums. Music to my ear hole.
This is one of the few perfect casting instances in my mind. There's very few. It is a rarity. But my god, did they nail his character perfectly. I really enjoyed the final battle between Scott and Gideon. It's really fun. It's visceral. We get Knives and Ramona into the action as well. That was also great. The scene where Scott and Knives beat up Gideon is probably one of the most emotionally satisfying moments I've ever seen in a movie. You don't hit Mary Elizabeth Winstead. That was a no. So despite me really enjoying Scott Pilgrim, I do have a few flaws with the movie. I think that during the battles, while they're fun to watch, the CGI for it looks very noticeable, and I get that they're trying to do the whole video game style for it, but some of the effects to me just don't really hold up anymore, and you can obviously tell when they're in a blue screen or a green screen environment. Like I said towards the beginning of this review, I love the fact that it tries to be abstract, it tries to be very different. However, at times it just got a little bit too abstract, a little bit too different from my personal taste, to the point where certain things to me just didn't make any sense. And I've never understood how whenever Scott kills someone, they just turn into quarters, and then everyone just forgets about it, or just has no idea what just happened, and just walks away. Like, that to me just doesn't make any sense, and they really don't explain that to you. And finally, let's talk about Knives. We know that she's a very naive person, but I always felt sorry for her, because once Scott saw Ramona, you knew he was going to be with her. But it's just the way that her character goes throughout the whole film, trying to be like Ramona, and then stopping that, and then trying to kill her. It just, for me, I wasn't a fan of the way they took her character. Now, I don't know if you guys are going to think this is kind of cheap for me to say, but I'm going to say it. The movie does have an alternate ending. In that version of the movie, he actually ends up with Knives and parts ways with Ramona. Now, for me, and I'm being brutally honest, I actually think that ending would have been the better one. Because the whole movie is so different and unique and unpredictable with a lot of characters and things that get introduced. If they stuck to that ending, it would have just been another layer of unpredictability. I'm also aware that Scott Pilgrim is a cult film. It's a movie that didn't do well when it came out, but over the years, it definitely has gotten critical acclaim. Myself included. When I saw the movie, I think I was 12 or 13, I wasn't really a fan of it, but I rewatched the movie last year, and that's when I began to realize this movie was really good. And despite the fact that that original ending got a lot of mixed reception, I do think people would have warmed up to it over time. Overall, guys, Scott Pilgrim is my least favorite Edgar Wright movie. I still really enjoyed it. I think it is a really good film. It's got a great cast. It has great humor for the most part. It's abstract. It's unique. It is the best video game movie ever made, despite the fact that it's not based off a video game. In the end, guys, I'm going to give Scott Pilgrim vs. the World an A-. So what did you guys think about Scott Pilgrim vs. the World? I'd love to hear all your comments, so send them in the comment section below. And that's it, guys. We're finally done with my Edgar Wright miniseries. My next review is going to be for his newest film, Baby Driver. I cannot wait to see it. I'm watching it tomorrow. It's going to be so good. I can feel it. I'm so pumped for it. Look forward to that review Friday night. You guys seriously are the best people ever. Thank you so much for sticking with my Edgar Wright miniseries. I will be talking about The World's End on July 11th. If you want to know more information, check out my Shaun of the Dead review. Go to the end of it and you'll find out why that date's important. Anyway, guys, thank you so much as always for watching, and stay tuned.